want to get your perspective. How far do you think we have fared so far for 65 years?
Wonderful 65 years as an entity called Nigeria. We survived the Civil War. That's the Biafran War. We've survived many military coups. And we are in the longest ever democratic setting that began in 1999. We're already hitting the 26th year as in a democracy, this fourth republic. So if you ask me, we are not where we ought to be as a nation with all the potentials we have as a country. But with what we have survived, and we are still holding up as one entity called Nigeria, one people, one nation, I would say to us that our resilience and our tolerance has kept us thus far. And the best is yet to come. And we're looking forward with a renewed hope into the future. We believe that our potentials will come alight as we move on into the new years with this democratic setting uncheckered.
Well, a lot of people will say Nigeria has gone through different leadership processes since even 1914 when the amalgamation took place. We've had like 9 constitutions between that time and now. And it is ironic that over the years, we have not been able to get our leadership structures right. Can you tell us why you feel we still have this rancor, disagreement, leadership issues after 65 years?
If we look at that question very well, you're trying to say that in spite the various constitutional reviews, trying to put a document together that would guide us as a people, there's still this rancor, disagreements. I'll put it this way. No doubt we are blessed with abundant natural resources. No doubt we are blessed with wonderful human capital. We excel anywhere we find ourselves in the world. In fact, Nigerians are one of the best people you can find anywhere in the world. But when it comes to the issue of leadership of our nation, managing this excellent human capital and the abundant human resources, there are issues. What's the core reason for this? That's the question you've asked. I would say we have not seen ourselves as one entity. People still pushing the wedge of division across 3 major lines: ethnic lines, religious lines, and class divides. It is these 3 major monsters that has actually not allowed Nigeria to fulfill its God-given purpose on earth. But I can guarantee you, once we cross that barrier, where the Igbo man will see me from Kogi State and Igala man as his brother, as a Nigerian, the Fulani man will see the Yoruba man as his brother, the Muslim, the Christians, we see ourselves as one Nigeria. Once we get to that level, I can tell you, Nigeria will really realize its full potential, irrespective of who is the leader.
Now we are in the 10th National Assembly, and we see them trying again, like we have always seen, to review the Constitution. A lot of Nigerians will say it's a ritual for every assembly. But with the volume of proposals we are seeing, after 65 years, people are still asking for more states. Now we are talking about devolution of powers. Some are saying women are not well represented. A whole lot of issues are springing up. Would you say that Nigeria is actually on its way to becoming a nation, or we are still experimenting? Because of the level of distrust we are seeing everywhere.
When you compare, we are just 65 years old. There are nations who have clocked 100 years. There are nations who have clocked 200 years. There are nations who are older than us. Yes, 65 is not a small number, but comparatively, we are still a young nation. And yes, we must continue to tinker with what binds us, that's the Constitution, until it reflects what we all collectively want and wish for. So yes, you talk about women inclusiveness. Our women want to be involved. You talked about even the traditional rulers now, they want to be involved. They want to have a say because they are the grassroots people. And then the various changes. People want more states. We are 36 states. We were not 36 some years ago. After the regional government, it moved to 12, it moved to 19, it moved to 21, it moved to 30, and then we got to 36. All those happened during the military eras. Whether we can get that done under a democracy is a different kettle of fish. But yes, people want to have self-determination. People feel they are marginalized in one state or the other. They want to have theirs and then see how they can manage themselves. But the key thing, like I've always said and I'll continue to say, until we see ourselves as one, until the religion differences becomes a strength rather than a weakness, until the diverse ethnic nationalities that runs over 250 becomes a strength rather than a weakness, until these things we see them as strengths rather than weaknesses, we may not get to that full potential. So we will be looking out for a leader that would be able to optimize this diversive nature of our country to the best for everybody. And I think we are already there. We are already there.
Well, some people argue that, yes, these roads are good roads, but the already existing federal roads across the country are bad. Let's touch on that, because how would you rate a country that already has a very, very poor road network, federal road network across the country? You don't spend money on that, you want to build new roads. This is the argument.
I'm a road traveler. In fact, I travel more by road than I fly. When last did you travel by road? I left Abuja, through Lokoja, to Enugu, to Asaba, to Ondo, to Lagos in May. And I can tell you, except for a few places between the bridge after the Onitsha axis to actual Asaba, all the other parts of that road was motorable. Then if you go through the north, I mean, moving from here to Zaria, from Zaria to Kano, you wouldn't say the roads are really, really bad. But what is the president trying to do with these highways? Everybody wants to feel a Dubai in Nigeria. Everybody wants to feel Saudi Arabia in Nigeria. Everyone wants to feel what we see when we travel out of this country. And unless you take the decisions to do them now, you may never be able to do them. If the former president never did the third mainland bridge of this world and the other highways, it would have been difficult to do them now. So you need to take a decision to do them at a time. And this is the best time, such that somebody can leave Sokoto on a highway and get to Lagos without all the inner roads and all that. Trucks and haulages, easy, can move easily for trans-regional businesses. So I think it is good for our country, because we are one of the largest countries in Africa, to have superhighways that can drive commercial activities and economic activities to make us grow and meet up our full potentials. So those highways are critical. They are not luxuries. They're important for this country.
They are saying, let's go back to regional government. Would you buy into this?
Once upon a time, we were practicing regional government. There was the East, West, North regions. Then came the Midwest, 4 of them at a time, until the 1966 unfortunate coup that now led everything to become centralized with the creation of 12 states, then 19, then 21, then 30, then today we have 36 states, and a little bit more concentration of power at the center. Yes, if you ask me, I wouldn't want us to go back to full-blown regional government. There are disadvantages with that. But we could practice what we call a blend of both, where you still reside some power at the center, but critical issues should be devolved to the regions. And talking about state police is part of what they are doing. Talking about the regional commissions that are coming on board is to say, whilst the federal government will be doing certain projects across the nation, there are specific, tailored projects that are critical for every region. And through these commissions, they can drive those processes and those projects. So today, apart from the Niger Delta Commission, the Development Commission, and the Northeast Development Commission that existed prior to this government, 5 new commissions have come on board across the other 5 geopolitical zones of Southwest, South-South, North-Central, Southeast, and the Northwest. All these regional bodies can help as a subtle pseudo-regional drive for whatever the regions would want to achieve outside what the center would really want. So a blend of both will make us better rather than reverting totally back to regional kind of government or maintaining what we have right now. Those agitations are quite in order, but a blend of both. And I think that's what we are experiencing, even without bringing everybody together and creating regional governments. It's already becoming a regional system.
Now, talking about this Southeast, because a lot of them will say the civil war got the region devastated and all that. You are part of this commission. Have they been able to come up with a master plan that can take care of those things that were destroyed, excuse me, during the civil war?
A very good question. In fact, after the civil war, I'm a part of one of the commissions. In fact, I serve on the board of the Southeast Development Commission. So I can tell you that each region understands themselves better. They know their peculiar issues. They know their priorities. These commissions that are manned by people from those specific regions, even though there are interjections of other regions amongst them on the board, they can sit together and develop what we call their master plan by interfacing with their people, understanding their critical needs for now. And yes, funding does not only come from federal government purse. There are also measures where you can raise funding to drive development in your region. It's not that you come cap in hand always to the federal. The law allows some flexibility.
So for now, you will say that the commission is hitting the ground running?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so now, apart from regional government, we used to see parliamentary system of government in this country. Would you say that the American presidential system we are running now and that of the parliamentary system we used to see, a lot of people say this one is more expensive, that one, the parliamentary system, is less expensive. Would you agree to that?
With what we have now, I think we have about 360 federal constituencies. That's a lot. And if all of them are on top of their job, they will definitely reflect the voices, demands, and desires of their people into what is happening at the center and attract such to their domain. We have 109 senatorial district. When you combine that, 109, 360, we're talking about over nearly 470 human beings representing their various grassroots areas. That's a lot of voice. And I think we should maintain that for now, rather than wanting to go back to what we used to have in the past, the parliamentary system. This is still okay. It's expensive, but there's a way those costs can be cut down and curtailed. There is a way. There is a way.
Do you think the state governors will really allow local government to survive?
Wow. That's a very topical question. Again, I would say, commend Mr. President. What did he do right? Having been a governor before, you understand the dynamics. You understand fully what the dynamics are. He went through the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister for Justice, approached the Supreme Court, interpret what the law says about the freedom, financial and administrative freedom of the local governments. The Supreme Court gave their verdict in favor of the local governments, right? At that point, Mr. President has done what he needed to do as the leader of the nation. The next thing would be citizens' actions. You come from a local government. I come from a local government. We all come from different local governments. We have elites from those local governments in business, retired military personnel. I mean, people who are not government dependent, people who are not public service dependent. And they are the ones who should bridge the gap between the people at the grassroots, that rural farmer, that woman in the market in my village. It is these elites that should bridge the gap. Just take, for instance, if these elites get themselves together, say 100 per local government, and begin to demand accountability from the leadership of their local government. I mean, you can get the figures that come to your local government every month. If after a year, you can put them together, demand to see how these figures have affected your grassroots area. If it is not there, then you know what to do. Because there are laws and there are agencies of government that should be able to check and look at those things. So if the elites, the citizens, can help and take it from where Mr. President has taken it to, sincerely I'll tell you that the local government will work. Yeah.
You contested as a governor in the last election. Your very good friend, the former governor of the state. From what we know, your relationship with him was very beautiful. And we were all expecting that you were going to succeed him. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Would you say that the relationship is still beautiful the way it used to be?
Point of correction, I didn't contest. I aspired on the primaries of my party and withdrew before the contest. Yes. So I was not in the contest. And like you all know, the governor is the leader of the party. And it's his prerogative to decide who eventually would continue from where he stopped. He made his decisions, we aligned with his decisions, and we moved on from there. The other issues around our relationship, we both served for 8 years, cordial, lovely. We exited January 27, 2024, and we were no longer in service. Everybody decided to follow his own path to greater things. And we can't be seen every day like we were still in service. We need to allow those who are now saddled with the leadership of the state to run their race. We can only guide from the sides and from the corners.
This review of the Constitution actually has to do with some of these issues. In the state at the time, there were agitations that the Gala part of the state at that time were supposed to now assume power after the governor. And eventually he decided to retain the governorship in the same senatorial district. These were the issues. Do you think that that decision is fair to another section of that state?
It takes us back to the first question. We must see ourselves as one entity, irrespective of tribe, religion. That's what I believe. I'm a product of a federal government college. And in that school, our motto is for the unity of the country, pro unitate do Nigeria. So I grew up seeing everybody as one. Yes, those may be the expectations, basically for the people from Kogi West that have never been there before, not even Kogi East. But it didn't happen that way. Other candidates flew flags in other parties. The Kogi West had their candidates in the PDP. My senatorial district had a candidate in the SDP. And it was left for the masses to vote. Eventually, APC won. So there's space for every zone to present their candidates at every elections.
How do we appeal to these sensitivities? Because they are very sensitive issues. When you go to the grassroots, you could feel their pulse and know what the people really want. People now believe, for now, that but we have not seen it work anyway, when my person is there. But we know that it has not worked.
Raise the bar of leadership, whether it's a Fulani man, whether it's a Yoruba man, whether it's an Igbo man. Let everybody be included in government. Let there be inclusivity. Let people feel that this government is ours, not theirs. We need to get our leadership level to that standard.
That's a good place to leave it.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.